Welcome back to another episode of the Cage Walk Podcast with Kayla, presented by OddSmoker MMA. Today, I have UFC heavyweight fighter Alvin Hines here with me today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely.
How are you doing tonight?
Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you did this. I'm excited to talk to you. We just go ahead and dive into it. I know a lot of your followers and fans, have a crazy story. So we can start there, talk about, childhood and everything you went through and kind of what led you into being an MMA fighter.
I didn't have the best childhood coming up, the parents being divorced and drug habits and all that stuff. But when it all boils down to it, my mom did a really good job raising all of us. There was like four of us, and she did it by herself pretty much. So gotta give props to my mom. And I was blessed with a lot of other people in my life that helped me along the way. But I'd have to say probably what mostly got me into MMA fighting was because I felt like that like I needed to protect my younger brother or sister. And I went to a gym one time and realized that there's actually people out there that were damn that knew how to fight, and that didn't sit right with me. And I probably have to say that that's one of the main reasons that got me into it.
Okay. At what point did you realize that you wanted to become a professional fighter and take it to that next level rather than just protecting your siblings?
See, that was a whole nother thing because then I didn't do it for many years. I didn't do it for I don't know how many years it was. Like I went on the road and just did and went working, did all this other stuff, and it wasn't until like 4.5 years ago I kind of got back into jujitsu and stuff, and I was in a relationship in Duluth, Minnesota, and that relationship ended, and I got into this whole like midlife crisis thing where I never want to be one of those guys. I look back and I'm like, oh man, if I would have did this, if I would have did that. We all know those people I'm talking about. Every one of us have heard one of those guys, and that shit just never sat well with me because I already regretted not serving in the military and stuff like that, and that didn't sit right with me. So I got out of that relationship in Duluth, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try this fighting thing, and I just, I started late, and in my head, that just meant I had to run twice as fast. And I trained my ass off. And man, one thing led to another, and I just kept winning. I don't know.
Yeah, you did. You were so your first major promotion was LFA. You're 5-0 in LFA, and you got that. Hold on, timeout. Before I jump into that, because it's going to lead us to your debut fight with the UFC. I would like to jump backwards, just because you are a recovery from drugs and stuff, which I am too, and I love talking to fighters about it, just because it's a huge part of our lives. Obviously, I'm not a fighter or anything, but being a drug addict has made me who I am, has brought me to where I'm at in the MMA world.
Oh,
So you don't have to go into the gory details because no one really wants to talk about that, but kind of like why you started and how you overcame that.
yeah, and that's I because everyone's seen just the latest stuff that happened, and that was on me too. And but my life started to change when I had a crippling meth addiction, and I was sitting in a West Virginia jail cell facing 14 to life, and that's I know 14 is a long time, and I'm almost positive life is a long time.
Mhm.
So that's when I decided to turn my life around, and that's when I really started accepting the person that you look in the mirror every morning. That is the person that makes all the choices in your life, good or bad. Everything that happens, you can boil it back down to one of your choices. And the second I started living like that, when I decided to take on this whole fighting career, I told myself the same thing. If I wake up in the morning, if my eyes open and I can look that person in the mirror, I got a chance to do whatever the hell I want. And anything is possible. And I kept that mind, and I have kept in mind. Obviously, you're going to have bad days. Obviously, there's going to be days when you get knocked off track a little. But that is one thing that I have buried into me. Like, if my eyes open, I got a chance. Because you know exactly what I'm talking about. We started at rock bottom how many times? People are like, oh, I don't have the resources. What resources? Go find them. They're out there. They're there. Every one of us has 24 hours in a day to do whatever the hell we want with it. And I'm not gonna say that meth changed my way in a good way like that, because that's a horrible way to put it. But I don't know if I ever would have found the grit that I have now. You know what I mean? In a way, like I don't know if I would have took fighting as seriously as I did now if I wouldn't have had to come from absolute rock ass bottom so many times. Because now, like, even people that I train with, a regular, like a horrible day to them is like just another Tuesday. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that sucks, man. It's a bad day.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like for me, when it comes to recovery aspect, and like you said, meth bomb was heroin and cocaine. Um, I look at it, it's so weird to say, but I look as a blessing in disguise. You know, because like you said, that rock bottom, like being that typical homeless junkie under a bridge, begging for money, doing whatever to get. You know, and like you took fighting more seriously. I decided to get my life together and started doing all this relatively recently. You know, and it's just like it's weird.
Yeah, it makes us way strong. Like, well, if our bank account gets low or something, people like go into an all-out panic. I'm like, oh no, I'll be just fine, like I always have.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
no,
some right, some people get a little bit low in their bank account, or they get a fucking flat tire or something. It's a big deal in their life. And
Mhm.
I'm not like ripping on them. I'm just saying they've had different lives.
Yeah. But now I look at it, if I have a flat tire or my money's low and that's my biggest problem that I have going on, then I'm doing all right. No.
Right? It's like, oh man, it could be worse, baby.
Yeah.
You could be in a holding cell or something with no money or no tire at all. Not even just the tire.
Yeah. Sure. Exactly. No, you're just so true. No, I and I've said it to you before, I believe, when we've been texting back and forth, I'm proud of you. I'm happy to hear more about it. But anyone who's in recovery
Same
and,
to you.
thank you. And overcomes that deserves all the recognition and all, the support and love, because it's something really hard to overcome. And I know for fighters, there's a lot of them that come from the same background, and sure, a lot of them used to get in street fights and stuff, and, now you can do it legally. So it's like, without having to go to
Yeah.
jail.
And that's like another thing. People are like, well, what do you want to do with this? And I'm like, why? I want to speak to like young adults, or just even people in general that think that they're like, because a lot of people think, oh, I threw my life away. I
Mhm.
got a felony. This is the end. And I get why they see that. Like, society makes it hard on you. But if I can speak to some people and at least get one to like just see what I'm saying, like, it ain't over till it's over, baby.
Yeah.
And I go into the ring with the same attitude. It's not over until the ref is pulling me out of there. I will fight
Mhm.
till my last breath. And if you just look at life like that and realize that you got a chance no matter what, our society would be so much better. People would fight so much harder to not sit in that revolving hell of addiction. Like, because they think, oh, well, it's always going to be this hard. I'm just going to go back to doing what I normally do. I was one of them people. over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So if I can help people see that there is a light, it is just hard to get to, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Being an addict is hard. You're not gonna tell me it's easy. There's no way you're gonna tell me it's easy because we've been there.
Yeah, no, and I love when people are like, oh, you know, you didn't have a job, you didn't do this, this, and this, you know, you had such an easy life. I'm like, no, I
So you
know.
haven't so you haven't tried it.
Yeah, good for you. You know, I'm actually real happy for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
But yeah,
again,
like if I could just help, like if I started volunteering at places on my free time and stuff, because when I'm just fighting and training, I got with the free time I do have, doing some volunteer work until I can get something figured out to where I can start speaking to younger. Yeah, it's probably going to be younger adults. I don't mean to keep saying younger adults. I just they're easier to talk to sometimes, but I'll talk to anybody. I love talking.
yeah, and hey, you know, I love to talk too, so I understand that. That's why I do my podcast. No, um, yeah, again, super proud of you. Thank you for sharing all that. Um, I'm gonna say this question for at the end, but jumping back to your fight career. So like I was saying, you are 5-0 as an LFA fighter. You just made your debut, UFC. What was it like getting that call? Because you did take a short notice fight. What kind of was going through your head, emotions, and all that?
It was. I actually hung the phone up and just turned my radio back up because I didn't believe it. My girlfriend's like, "Aren't you excited?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't believe nothing," because just prior to that, uh, after that head kick win and stuff, I was really like we were really waiting for a call to the contender series, and then that's when I got the call stating that I was too old for the contender series, and I'm like, damn. And that one really hit hard. It did, and there were, I was really like wavering on not fighting anymore because if I wasn't gonna making a run in the UFC was my goal. I already wasted so much of my life on everything we just went over. Life is this short. Like I'm either doing it or I'm moving on to my next goal because I already wasted too much time. So it was a crazy call to get actually. I was not expecting it. And like I said, I didn't believe it. And I just kept driving. And then actually the next day a girl called and I can't remember what her name was, but she's all, "I'm such and such and I work for the UFC." And I'm like, well, I should probably start believing them now. but but they had to do all the brain scans. Like there was so much stuff that I've tried to learn not to get too excited about stuff until it happens because it's just easier that way in case something goes wrong. And um it was I think it hit the hardest when I met DC at the fighters meeting, like the little where you go in for the commentators. That's when it got the realist. That's when it hit me where I'm like, man, I'm fighting in the UFC now.
Yeah, I can only imagine like 1 second you're being told that you're too old for the contender series. And like you said, your hopes and dreams shot down. Why keep fighting? And then right after that, you get the call, "Hey, we need a short notice fighter." And it's funny though, and it's such a cliche saying, but it's so true. Like God works in mysterious ways, and the fact that, just shortly after you were like told no, here you go now on a short notice fight.
To one of the biggest cards of the year.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know. She goes, I'm like, I'm fighting on June 28th. She goes, yeah, International Fight Week. I'm like, oh, okay.
What was,
Whatever.
I mean, obviously LFA is a pretty big, big stage to fight on. I've been, watching LFA. I've had some fighters that I support on LFA, but when you obviously get to the UFC octagon, it's so different. That minute that you were walking out and you see the hundreds of thousands of fans, the bright lights, your walkout song, what was going through your head?
How shitty the power bar was the game in the locker room.
Wait, I didn't hear
Honestly,
you. I'm sorry.
oh, sorry. I said how so what was going through my head was that the power bar in the locker room must have been shit because that's why I was getting a stomach ache.
Oh no.
That's what I was telling myself. And when you watch the cameras, you can see me. I mostly look right at the camera because when I would look away from it, I'd get a stomach ache. But I was just telling myself it's just from that power bar. Just from that power bar.
So you got, so now that's over. I mean, I'm just going to assume you got a little nervous, which is not nervous, but like it's different, I mean, literally hundreds of thousands of people are watching you. Like it. I'm terrible with words. It's funny.
Oh no,
Um,
I think it might have been a little nervous because that was a lot of people.
yeah.
Uh what all I had to do was tell myself I just got to make it to the cage because once they close the cage door, then it's just me and him.
Hmm.
Well, and the ref, but you know what I mean. Then once the cage door closes, it's just another day at the office, and that's man. But it was rough getting to the door. There were so many cameras and stuff, and I'm just like, hurry up and put the shit on me so I can get in the cage.
Yeah. No, it's, from my experience, it's very different. Obviously, I'm not a fighter, nor will I ever be a fighter. But um, I got to work media, and I have media credentials for UFC now. So
Oh,
walking
nice.
down there, yeah, it's really cool. I got to do Nashville; it's a really cool experience. But I mean, it's just totally different, And I'm sure, not I'm sure. Obviously, fighters have it a lot more because people are literally just staring at you, and I couldn't do it. Like I have so much respect for fighters, I truly do. Yeah,
I
I
don't know
mean,
why it gets me so psyched up, why it did before that, because the weigh-ins, when there was all them people and they were just letting me stand on that scale, when I was the first one out there and I'm like, bro, so how do I do this? I've never even watched one of these. And he goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, I watch heavyweights and like heavyweight technique videos. I've never watched a weigh-in. So what do I do? And he goes, are you kidding me? And I said, I'm not kidding you, bud. And he goes, go, and all he says is go out there, find the X, give your coaches clothes. And if you watch it, I go out there, I find the X, and I turn around, my coach was like this. So I thought he wanted a hug. So I give him a hug, and he goes, give me your clothes. And I said, oh, yeah, yeah. So I throw all my shit on his shoulders, and I go up on the scale, and I'm sitting there like hitting different poses, and all of a sudden I hear Dana White behind me. He goes, all right, kid, that's enough. And I was like, oh. And I get off and I go to walk off the stage, and he goes, hey, you got to do the face off. And I said, that's why you're the boss. And I turned around and he just started laughing. I stand there, and then we did the face off. But if they went to said nothing, I'd still be up on that scale hitting different poses. I love that shit.
that is funny. That's hilarious. Talk about a
Oh,
first. Talk about making an entrance and making sure you're remembered.
I guess so. Yeah, I wasn't even trying yet.
Oh, that is funny. That's hilarious. All right, now I want to back it up a little bit again because I asked what it was like walking to the octagon. What was it like walking to the cage for your first ever fight?
First ever fight
Hmm.
or first ever UFC fight?
No, first fight, like your amateur fight.
That one was wild actually because it was all the way back in like 2018 and the it was in my hometown, like it was in like Grand Rapids, Minnesota, so right next, yeah, like where I grew up. So
Mhm.
it was awesome. It's the same feeling you get every time. Like that's why, you know, that is something you just can't buy.
Yeah.
That or when they lock the door behind you and they're just like, do your thing. Like that.
You're saying
do
that, yeah.
you
I
do
have,
your thing and we're gonna give you money for it. It's like for real. All right.
yeah, do what I love and get paid for it, and that's it. Can't go wrong with that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I don't know how to, like I said, it's a feeling you can't buy. So whatever that feeling is to each and every person,
Mhm.
that's what I get out of that. Something that is really hard to get
Yeah.
and is very addicting in a way, but nerve wracking as hell in another way. I don't know,
I
but
mean,
it's
it has to be nerve wracking. You know you're gonna get in there, you're about to get fucked up, or you're about to fuck someone else up. You know, either way, someone's getting
it's that second one that's always in my head. Someone's about to get fucked
well.
up.
Yeah, and what is, but like, but you're, regardless, you're gonna get hit. I mean, you're just gonna get hit, and like knowing that, I guess I just don't have the balls to do it. Like to get in there and be like, I know I'm about to get punched. Like, no.
That part isn't what nerve wracks me the most. It's letting down all the people that came to watch me, the people that supported me on the way there. That's that's what I get the most nervous about. And that's what I at the end of that fighters meeting when I was down in Vegas, they're like, "Will you go in there and you fight for you?" And I said, "No. I go in there and I'm fighting for everyone that believed in me or that everyone that's here for me, supported me, all them people, all my fans, and that makes me really hard to beat. Really hard to beat. Because I'm not in there just fighting for me. I will fight until my fucking heart stops.
Wow.
So
Well, I love that. That was gonna be my next question. Was what keeps you motivated on fighting? You pretty much just answered that with your fans and support, and you know. So, all right. What was my next question? I have so many questions, but I know we don't have a whole lot of time on this interview, so I'm going to try to squish them down pretty quick. Um, if you weren't a fighter and you never trained, what do you think you'd be today, or what would you be doing?
I would be I'm gonna get more into real estate after I'm done fighting, actually.
Okay.
Maybe even sober houses. Uh Stuff like that where I could help the community and in the real like I started getting into real estate just a little bit before I started, and that was the next goal I was going to move on to when the whole too old thing happened. And so I'd probably say I'd be doing something like that. Well, I
Okay.
know
I
I
love
would.
that. That's awesome. I was just curious, like when you ask fighters, like what do you think they would be doing, and I've got some crazy responses. But I love the real estate, the goal that you have, and maybe doing sober houses. I feel like we need more of the. You can never have too many, you know. I don't think there's any possibility of having too many sober living homes. I say sober living saved my life. I was in one before, you know, after I uh, decided to get clean, and I was in one
Oh,
about 6 months. Um,
yeah,
let's
I
see.
don't think you're wrong at all. Because like especially in the town I live in right now, it's rough. There's a lot of people that need help. A lot.
Absolutely. That's like where I'm from. I'm originally from outside of Philly,
Oh yeah,
Pennsylvania.
I've been there.
Yeah. So Kensington, I mean, that area, I always, I hear about or see stories, I'm like, I just wish there was more help in that area. It's just so bad. And now I live in Memphis, and I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of sober living. So I'm like, get more. Like, I feel like they're always filled, and there's always people needing it.
100, yeah. Even in smaller towns like this, compared to like Philly and stuff, they're always booked. They're always, oh, we're waiting for a bed, bro. How there ain't that? So yeah, like that's what I'm gonna do after this is make more beds.
I love that. That's such a great idea. Yeah, something that's definitely needed. Just a couple more questions. Um, Eh, if you want to talk about it, I know you put a statement out, and anyone who follows you, your fans, followers, whatever, know that you have been suspended for a year. Um,
Yeah.
kind of what happened with all that and how you're feeling about it.
That was, that I had a moment of weakness, but it was 100% my fault. I ain't gonna blame it on like tainted food or something crazy like that. It's like just like in the letter, thought I was done fighting. I was just trimming down for summer. And it was either, I know I lied and I shouldn't have, but in my eyes, it was either tell this lie and fight or tell them the truth and they're going to grab the very next guy and I will never be heard of again. And the people that want to hate on me for lying, I understand. Just keep it PG in the comments because my grandma and stuff reads those. So, but you can, yeah, but I get it. If you want to hate on me, that's fine. But I manned up to that shit 100%, and there ain't nothing else I can do. I've
No.
apologized, but I promise I will always bring bangers. Every time I fight will be a banger. But yeah, I thought I was done fighting, and I didn't listen to my coaches when they said, you know, just keep training for a short notice fight. Well, I wasted a lot of my life. I can't just keep in training for a short notice fight and getting me to my next goal. That's
Yeah.
that's living life out on a limb. And I did that for a lot of my life and wasted a lot of my life. So I was wavering on, shit. If I went down and helped uh, Waldo finish his fight camp, I wouldn't have even been in shape for that fight. But I told him I would, and I try to stick to my word the best I can, and thank God I did because I was in shape. And the stuff I was doing, if you guys think that's what made it, I mean, I still lost anyway. So, but if you think that's what makes me throw bangers, come on. But like I said, I man up to 100%. There's like no excuses. But it will change. They gave me a 1 year suspension, and everyone that's hating on me, I get it. Well, you'll see come July 11th.
Well, I cannot wait to see the fighter and just everything you've talked about, the man that you grow into throughout the rest of your career here, especially with the UFC. And I understand. I mean, if anyone's going to understand, it's me. Being an addict and having that moment of weakness, it's hard. I mean, once an addict, always an addict. What I mean, and obviously you weren't doing anything like absolutely insane, but any little thing that's going to make us any little type of way when you're having those moments in those days, it's so hard to overcome. But the
Yeah.
fact that you're able to admit it, you've put out a statement, and you're looking back like, and I'm assuming you're thinking like, damn, probably shouldn't have fucking done that.
Yeah. As soon as they called, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, what do? You can't go back in time because, well, that's probably a good thing we can't because it wouldn't make people that we are today. But
Exactly.
couldn't go back. I couldn't go back in time, and like I said, it was either it was one or the other, and I made the choices I made. You guys got to see a hell of a fight, though.
Oh yeah, it definitely was a hell of a fight, and I can't wait to see you back in there. But yes, you've been suspended for a year, but they didn't tell you to fuck off, you know. So you were
That's right.
after, even though you did lie, whatnot. Once from what a letter said, you were cooperative. You know, did whatever they asked you to do. They only suspended you for a year with all intentions of bringing you back. You know, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. You know, it's not like they said, all right, you lied, you did this, this, and this. We don't want you anymore. So you still have that chance. You can still train, still be prepared for, you know, July 11th of next year and be ready to go.
They just didn't want me on the White House card. No, just kidding.
I
No,
mean, no, I'm just kidding. All jokes, all jokes. No. Um, Last question. Um, it's kind of a two-part question. Um, it's the same question, but for two different aspects. You say you want to talk to addicts, try to help them get help, or talk to new recovering addicts. Say you're in front of one who needed help, needed some kind of advice. What advice would you give them?
like I said, it's your choice every day, and it's not going to be easy. Like that is the first thing you got to swallow is it's not going to be easy. But man, is it worth it? I mean, look, I'm a complete meathead, and look at the shit I've accomplished over that one thing that you can tell yourself, and that's free advice you can tell yourself every morning. I got a chance. Point at yourself right in the mirror and say, I got a chance. I'm breathing. I got a chance. That is the best advice I can give any one of you guys. Hands down. And never stop being grateful.
I love that. Absolutely. That is some great advice right there. And one of my favorite things I like to tell, and not to like addicts, but to tell them was like, hey, I did this already. I did it for you. It's not worth it. So just stop. Like, I went through it for that many, many years. Like, I'm telling you, don't do it. No.
I wish it was that, dude. If someone, could you imagine someone telling you that though back then? I'd have been like, if someone tried to tell me that, I'd be like, you're an idiot. I'm not
Yeah.
listening to you.
But I've said this, I've had people tell me that. And I'm like, no, I want to find out for myself. Like, it's going to be different for me. So that's what every
I'm
addict
way
says.
better at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be fine. It'll be different for me. Um,
Yeah. And then I'm sitting in a jail cell. I'm like, I could have swore someone said this was gonna happen.
yeah. Hey, mine was, I was unresponsive for days. I had overdosed for like the fourth or fifth time or something. And this time they actually called my parents and they're like, you need to prepare yourself. And all I remember from that night was asking the doctors, I'm like, am I going to make it? And they're like, we don't know. And I woke up several days later and shipped my
You
ass
made
off.
it.
I made it. I did. Yeah, it was a hard recovery. I still have, um, issues from it, like memory stuff, like my memory's just different and but I look back and I'm like, well, not that I wanted to die, but I'm kind of glad I did because then it made me realize like, damn, I really didn't want to die. Even though it was intentional. I'm like, wow, I'm glad I didn't really die because looking back, like I didn't want like now I'm like, don't want to die. Don't want to die, you know?
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thanks. And it's been awesome getting to know you. I enjoy our conversations. I mean, we obviously don't talk all the time, but when we do talk, a lot of funny jokes and stuff. I love it. Um, but yeah. Oh, it was a two-part question. I'm sorry. Say that you have a new fighter coming in for the very first time, or someone who wants to train, get into fighting and stuff. What advice would you have for them?
I just, if you just keep showing up and working hard. And that other thing, like I said, don't stop being grateful. I feel like that has got me a long ways. Like just even like simple stuff like, hey, because a lot of times, like, we don't have money for like gym memberships and stuff, or we can only afford like, well, just being grateful, but hey, you guys need help cleaning up and stuff like that goes so far, and you'll meet the down to earth people, and most of the time they are willing to help you. Like I've been blessed by like each and every person on my team is one of them people I met that way. And if you show up and work hard every day and are grateful and don't be afraid to ask, like don't be afraid to ask for help. The worst a person's gonna say is no, and you're right back to where you started. So it's all right to ask for help. Everyone needs help once in a while. But like those three things, and you'll get a long ways.
Love it. That's some good advice. Well, thank you so much for following me. For anyone who's not following you, maybe on my platform or whatever, where can they find you to follow you?
I have Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. They're all under like Goozie Hines or Hines Goozie or Goozie.Hines.
Some kind of mix of that, right?
Yeah, I think that they're each one of those is one of them. And then they have the other ones on there.
Okay. Well, guys, make sure to give Alvin a follow. And for the haters right now, get over it. He made a mistake. He's still a savage fighter. I'm always going to be one of your biggest fans. Like I already told you that when we were talking. It's been such an honor having you on here and getting to know you more than we have talked about. And for those who don't know me, make sure to give me a follow. Kayla.patterson.mma or anything on all social media platforms at OddSmoker MMA. And I always like to plug myself at the very end of my podcast, Alvin. If you need any graphic designs for merch, promotional uses, or anything, or wanting to get your name out there on my podcast, I'd love to have you on. Um, but Alvin, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully get to do this again. I'm sure I'll be talking to you again in the near future. You have a great night.
You also. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.